Welcome back, toy fans, to episode 179 of Reynolds Reviews. And on today's episode, we've got two awesome gifts from two awesome guys. Cue the march. Welcome back, everyone. Now, like I said in the intro, today we have got two awesome gifts sent in from two awesome guys. One of those guys is our Si, better known as Manga Fandango, and the other one is a very dedicated viewer and subscriber in Wesley Hendricks. Now, both of these gifts are connected to a line I've started picking up recently, but one is also connected to a very particular figure. So today we're going to take a look at what the guys have been very kind enough to send us. Okay, folks, so we're going to start with the one from our Si. Now, I do know what's in here, but very excited to get inside, so let's open it up. Oh, we've got a note. So it says, Luke, just a small gift from Dublin. Shame you, Rach and Connor couldn't make it, but always next year. I think you should do a live taste test with the fudge. Right, okay. Thank you, Si. Very generous. I will keep that. That will go in my box of notes like all the others. Very important. Okay, so he did say do a live taste test. So we've got some Guinness luxury fudge. So again, recently Simon's been to Dublin, met up with a few of our YouTube friends as well. But yeah, Guinness flavoured fudge. Now, I'm not a fan of Guinness, so I'm not expecting to like those, but I will do a taste test on the video. But the reason why Simon sent this was because he was very kind and picked me up a Dr. Henry Jones Sr. from The Last Crusade in the Retro Hasbro Indie figures. Now that is definitely a figure that I need, and I was desperate to get him, so Si's been very kind. But yeah, awesome. Okay, so let's move on to what Wesley Hendricks sent us. And here is what Wesley sent us. Now, you can probably see it through the bubble wrap. I have taken out of the padded envelope, but let's just take a closer look. Look at that. Wesley has been kind enough to send us a Stan Solo Marion Ravenwood. Now, Wesley contacted me a few weeks ago and said that he'd watched the indie retro figure pickups where I got Belloc and I got Marion, and obviously he took note that I was a bit disappointed with Marion. And he contacted me and said, it's already done, Luke, so there's no arguments. I have sent you a Marion Ravenwood from Stan Solo. And man, am I buzzing to get this, because I was a bit disappointed with the Retro Collection one. So today we're going to just take a little bit of a look at this and a bit of a comparison. But yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Wesley. And of course, I don't know if you can see that. Oh, we've got the monkey as well. So let's get everything on the table and we'll take a closer look. Okay, folks, so here we go. So here is Dr. Henry Jones Sr., the figure that Simon was very, very generous to send me. So thank you, Simon. I absolutely love it. However, you will all notice that something has changed. You will see that he's out of his packaging. Now, that wasn't deliberate. I wanted to keep all these indie figures on the card. I intended to get an acrylic case and put this in. And when I went to change shots from the previous scene, when I picked up the figure to take him off the table, I picked him up by the top of the card and the bubble literally fell off. It quite literally just fell off the card, landed on the floor, so of course I've had to open it. So I'm a little bit upset by that. But as you can see, look at the card. It is so clean. There was no adhesive on it virtually. You can see a little tear there, a tiny one there, and then one just at the top. And it just shows you how little adhesive or a little glue was on that. It just fell off the card, so bravo Hasbro, another reason for us to be upset with these figures. There was virtually no glue on that bubble, so I've had to open him. Now I'm going to reseal him, so don't panic, Si. I am going to reseal him, but I guess it does give us a chance to look at the figure a little bit more closely. But let's start with the card. Now, I've got to admit, forget the fact that the bubble has come off. I absolutely love that card. I love that image of Sean Connery, and I think he does an amazing job playing Dr. Henry Jones Sr. It is such an iconic card, and that picture when they're on the beach after the car chase with the plane, and yeah, it is just such a great image. So I really do like that. And we turn it around again. All these cards are the same. You've got a ton of legal jargon taking up half of the card, but what is nice is to see, and I've said this before, to see some images on the back of this card now. So as you can see there, we've got the three images, the three characters from The Last Crusade. So we've got Dr. Henry Jones Sr., Indiana Jones and Salah. And it's just nice to see some figures on the backs of these cards rather than just completely filled with legal jargon and mumbo jumbo, very much like the retro collection Star Wars cards. So yeah, really pleased to get something on the back of the card, even if it is just the half. But like I said, at least we can now look at the figure in a little bit more detail. So here is Dr. Henry Jones Sr. And I've got to admit, you know, like I say, there are quite a few shortcomings with these retro indie figures, certainly Marion. But this particular one I actually think is a really, really nice figure. Again, very much in the vintage kind of style, and this figure does look nice. He holds his umbrella quite well. And yeah, I mean, obviously everything, the paint apps are very basic. Obviously everything is brown or beige, barring his shirt and his dicky bow. But we've got the glasses on there, we've got the beard. And it does look nice. However, the one thing I would criticise it for is, look at all that writing on his back. I mean, could that not have been minimised and put it maybe at the bottom of his leg somewhere? But look at that. There is like 5, 6 lines worth of information on there, like batch numbers, and that is a lot of writing on his back. Was that really necessary, Hasbro? I mean, I know we're not going to see his back when we display him, but look at all that writing. There is so much on there, plastered right in the middle of his back. And I just don't know if that's just seems unnecessary to me. Surely that could have been minimised and put somewhere else on the figure. But, I mean, other than that, it's a really nice figure. But that just seems too much. It really does. But, Si, please don't be concerned by this. I am going to reseal it. Like I say, you can see just how little glue there was on there because it's just not ripped in any way. There's 3 small areas where it's took a bit of the card off, but other than that, so I am going to try and reseal this. I'm going to get him in a case and he's going to display lovely with my other indie figures. So thank you, Simon, thank you for thinking about me. And you know what, folks, Simon does this so much. Whenever he goes anywhere, he always seems to think about me, and bless him, always seems to get something and send me it. So again, thank you, Simon, for your generosity, but just for thinking about me, mate. I really do appreciate it. It's really humbling and you are an absolute gentleman. Okay, so moving on to what Wesley sent us. Okay, folks, and now we're on to the gift that Wesley sent, and Wesley was very, very generous and sent me a Stan Solo Marion Ravenwood. Now, like I said earlier in the video, Wesley had seen the pickups video where I'd actually picked up Belloc and Marion and expressed my disappointment with Marion for various different reasons, which I covered in the video. So he got in touch with me and said, look, I'm sending you one, it's already done. I hope you like it more than the retro version. Well, I've got to say, I am going to do a brief comparison with these figures, but if you want to see an extremely in-depth and thorough comparison, jump on over to Retroblasting. I'm sure you've seen the video and seen the channel before, but on the off chance you haven't, you've been living under a rock, Michael does an extremely thorough comparison between the Stan Solo Marion and the vintage Kenner Marion. Now, I don't have that, so I aren't able to do that. Amazing video, check it out, I will leave a link in the description. But the Stan Solo version, I mean, I'm not an expert on this. I don't have an original vintage Kenner Marion to compare it to. But just standing it next to my retro collection Marion, it is night and day. It really is. It just looks so much better. Now, like I said, I haven't got a vintage version to put it up against on screen. So I am going to use some images just to show you just how good this Stan Solo Marion is. Now, I know to some purists out there, the mention of Stan Solo's name makes their head burst. But like Stan Solo, don't like Stan Solo, the one thing you cannot deny, it's not there for debate, is the quality of his work is exceptional and far better than what Hasbro are producing. And this guy, I mean, and obviously he's got people helping him, but essentially he's a one-man band and he's producing better quality figures than Hasbro. And this Marion is no exception. So let's just do a quick comparison. Now, I'm no expert, but I'm just going to give you my opinion. So let's just put some images on screen. So I'm going to start with images of the original vintage Kenner version, which I don't have, and the Hasbro Marion version. So immediately, now I did cover this on my last video, immediately you can see Hasbro made these big statements how Marion's dress was going to be identical to the original vintage Kenner version. And as you can see, immediately it is nowhere near. Now, I touched upon it before. What are these huge swirls on the retro collection dress? I don't know why they're there. Where have they come from? If this is meant to be an identical version, it is nowhere near. We've got a huge swirly pattern on the retro collection version, and then when you look at the original vintage version, it's more just dots. There's obviously a pattern that goes around the hem on each layer. There's 3 layers. You can see the pattern that goes around the bottom, but then it looks to me like it's just dots. So where have these huge swirls come from? Where have Hasbro looked at that dress and thought, they've got big swirls coming out? They are nowhere near. The dress is nothing like. The neck joint is obviously better, it's tighter, and I also think that the facial expression on the Hasbro version, the eyebrows look like they're being pulled up by fishhooks. So again, it certainly isn't identical, so I don't know where Hasbro were getting that from. But now let's take a look at the Stan Solo version next to the Kenner version. And immediately you can see the facial expression is softer, the neck joint is far better, it's tighter, there's no huge gaps at each side. But look at the dress. The shape of the dress is far more accurate, and the pattern is absolutely nailed on. Now, I've looked at these images a few times and I cannot find a single flaw in the pattern. It's got the dots, it's got the pattern around the hem, the 3 tiers look better, it looks more flary like the original version does. It is just absolutely spot on, and the skin colour is far closer to the original vintage one as well. My light makes it look a bit lighter, but honestly, yes, you'll pay more than when you get the Retro Collection version. I mean, I think they're around £40, but you are absolutely spending good money. Now, of course, you know, the Retro Collection is cheap. If you want it, by all means buy it, but I can see why hardcore fans are getting upset. There is absolutely no comparison. If you want a Marion Ravenwood that is as close as to the original vintage Kenner version, buy the Stan Solo version. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind. Let's put them all together on the screen and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So there we go. So you can see you've got the Kenner version, the Stan Solo version. They are absolutely perfect to go with each other. You can see the dress design is absolutely spot on. The design is right, the way it's shaped, the 3-tier flared dress, you can see it's in 3 sections, whereas the Hasbro one looks too tight, it looks like it's all in one line. But the facial expression, the neck joint, the Stan Solo version is by a mile closer and more accurate to the Kenner vintage version. So if you're looking at buying a Marion Ravenwood, obviously if you're on a budget, then the Retro Collection may satisfy you, but if you can afford to buy a Stan Solo version, absolutely do it, because it is so much better. The quality is better, the design is better, and it's far more accurate. So Stan Solo is the way to go if you want an accurate Marion Ravenwood. Now, like I say, I've got both. I did pick up a retro Marion because I want one in my collection still. I'm gonna collect them all. I'm gonna put them in some cases, and they will display well. But if you want a figure that's accurate, the Stan Solo figure is the way to go. He did do a line of Indiana Jones retro figures, but obviously once Hasbro announced that they were going to release them, he did stop making them. But if you can get your hands on them, by all means do so, because they are exceptional. So thank you, Wesley, for sending me this Marion. I absolutely love it. It will go lovingly into my collection. You are an absolute gentleman. Thank you so much for your generosity. Okay, let's get everything back on the table and we'll wrap up. So there we go, folks, everything back on the table. And again, I just want to say a massive, massive thank you to our Sai, better known as Manga Fandanga, for sending me the Dr. Henry Jones Sr. Sai, don't worry, like I said, I've got the packaging still, I've got the bubble, I am going to reseal that. He will look as good as new once I've finished. I just want him to be the same as all the others, so I want him carded. I will put him in an acrylic case and protect him as well, but just so disappointing. You can see just how clean that card is. There was no glue on there, but yeah, I will reseal that. And a massive thank you to our Wesley Hendricks for sending me the Stan Solo Marion Ravenwood. But I also forgot to mention the monkey, didn't I? So obviously she comes with her monkey as well, very much like the vintage version, so apologies for forgetting the monkey. But yeah, that is a cool little addition. So, but yeah, huge thanks to Wesley. I absolutely love Marion, and she will go lovingly into my Indiana Jones collection as well. So yeah, there we go, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by and giving me a shot. I hope you'll consider leaving a like and subscribing. And if you're one of my existing viewers and existing subscribers, thanks for sticking with me, everyone. I really do appreciate it. Leave any comments or questions in the comment section below. I always try to read everyone's comments and get back to everybody. And as always, keep collecting. I'll see you next time. It's not good.